Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota LO1 series is part of our tractor lineup, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. The durable Kubota LO1 series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Wolf Kubota. On the web at wolfkubota.com.
Donald Trump nombró a jueces de la Corte Suprema que anularon el acceso al aborto en el país. Se enorgullece de haberlo hecho. Ahora, la mitad de todos los estados han prohibido el aborto. Pero Donald Trump y su grupo republicano extremista en la Cámara de Representantes y el Senado no se detendrán hasta que esté prohibido en todas partes, incluidas las excepciones por violación e incesto. Incluso quieren encarcelar a médicos y a mujeres por practicar y solicitar abortos. Y ahora quieren dificultar el acceso a la fertilización in vitro, FIV. Kamala Harris lucha por el derecho de las mujeres a elegir. Cree que el gobierno no debe decir a una mujer qué hacer con su cuerpo. Harris trabajará incansablemente para restablecer el acceso al aborto. La votación ya inició. Puede votar anticipadamente por correo o en persona. El día de las elecciones es el 5 de noviembre. Haga un plan para votar por Kamala Harris en estas elecciones. Visita votolatino.org para saber cómo. Pagado por Voto Latino.
Listen, there's going to be two things that attract new women to me, Steve, if my wife ever leaves me. And it's going to be that adorable wiener dog and a really nice vacuum cleaner.
Of course, you are perfectly okay to edit any way you see fit before I actually send it. Hey, Kev, bro. Thanks for the jams. Best, Steve and Kyle. And jams is with a Z.
I don't know why I'd ever need to edit anything like that. Can I still call something on top of noogie, or is that racially based as well?
Oh, I don't know. Is noogie?
Probably shouldn't have said it.
Oh, man, now I...
A lot of regret. I apologize to anybody offended by noogie. So what do? You walk up into the sunset and just, walk into the ocean and...
Well, kind of, because he smacked into a pier and died.
I'll walk out of this room right now. I swear to God, Steve, I will get up and I will leave this room and this podcast for all of time.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. In our short 16-episode history, now 17-episode history, that's my crowning achievement right there, was that bait and switch.
I thought about this yesterday, Steve. If, when we get to the days where... we're too busy on a holiday week. We have to release a best of episode.
Best of show.
That is happening. And we may just replay that 3 times.
Oh, good God. That was funny. In case you missed that one last week, it was a story about a 60-year-old man spent his whole life dedicating his life to the Lord and serving his sick father. Mm-hmm. And he surfed every day except for on the Sabbath. And he was from Florida, I think. Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
His father passed away last year. Very sad story. But this guy had a dream to one day surf the Huntington Beach Pier in California. So, Dad passed away, so he loaded up the van and he said, I'm going to do it. Drove all the way across country. All the way across the country and dipped his toes in the muddy Pacific. And he lasted about 1 minute in the water before he smacked into a pier and died. And boy, did I take great joy in doing that, because you obviously hadn't heard the story.
No, that one caught me off guard. That silence was genuine. That was not edited. And it could have been twice as long. And I think it would have been justified in that case. Nothing in the history of this podcast has caught me as off guard or stunned me like me cracking a joke like, well, he's got nothing else to live for. And you're like, well, kind of, because he doesn't, because he's dead.
You can't have anything to live for when you're not living.
No, you should, if you're listening.
Sage words right there. You can't live for anything if you're not alive.
If you're listening to this and for some unknown reason you haven't listened to last week's, please go back and do that, because that was Boy, that was a stunner.
Towards the end of the episode.
And then trying to get back on track because we still had the Fast Five to do, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we had to throw a couple stingers in there and try to get...
Wait, the Fast what?
Yeah, it's the weekly segment, that we do every week. On the,
you mean the one that was my idea?
On the podcast here, Steve. And by that interjection, I'm assuming it's going to be a one-sided affair of the Fast Five this week.
No, it's a thrifty 3.
When do I'm curious. When do the Fury or the Terrible Twos, the Thrifty 3, when do those happen like Wednesdays and then you just save it for 5 days? You're like, I'll finish it by Tuesday.
No, one of them I randomly thought of about 2 days ago. So I pulled out my phone, made a note in my phone. Wait a minute, I have to check my phone. There's a chance that there are more on that list that I haven't thought of.
Oh, man. A hidden list.
By the way, you're listening to the Steve and Kyle podcast, Tuesday, December 16th, 2016, the year of our Lord. And we've had a very eventful week here at the Steve and Kyle podcast. Lots of stuff. First of all, I want to touch base on something we had the idea for, I think, last week. That is the Steve and Kyle podcast Secret Santa, as we're now calling it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, seeing as how there are two of us, the secret, it's not going to be that much of a secret at all. But I just wanted to see, have you started? Have you made any progress?
I started, Steve. I ordered the gift that night. I told you I'm the king of gift giving.
So we had an idea that we would do a Secret Santa here on the podcast, and it was a $10 limit. Mm-hmm. It has to be ordered off of Amazon Prime.
Yep.
So $10 total.
Right.
So if you could order it off of Amazon and not get the free Prime shipping, but who does that?
Why waste your time?
So I actually, I have yours. It is ready to go. What day? We have to put it in the calendar.
What week are we recording? What day of the week are we recording? Is that going to be the 20th?
I'm assuming we're
20th?
We're just going to go right up until Christmas. Yeah, 2 weeks from today would be Tuesday, December 20th. So I think that's going to be that should be the day. We could do a little on-air unwrapping. Oh, definitely. Whew. Definitely. We may pull out a camera and record the whole thing for posterity.
I knew immediately. It took me about 15 seconds. I go, boom. It's going to be this. Went home that night. Got it.
I knew when I knew as we were bringing up the idea.
Right.
I already knew. Technically, I already had the gift in my possession.
Oh, really?
Because surprisingly, 2 people on my holiday list this year are getting the same gift.
Oh, man.
I had already ordered one, so I had it. Huh. I had it sitting there. And I was like, so if need be, you will get that one, even though, because I just went on to Amazon again and I hit, send me another one. Hasn't gotten here yet, but that's okay.
What if we got each other the same thing?
Oh, imagine that.
Do you think there's an outside chance that happened?
I don't. I really don't.
Okay. All right. Because I have that fear now.
Oh, but just imagine the photo op. We can do the like we're both holding the same T-shirt and we have the one hand up to the forehead like, look what we did.
Can you believe these 2 guys? I do feel a little bit bad leaving your landlord out of the Secret Santa swap.
The landlord.
The landlord Annette, obviously we're referring to.
Right.
Who did take a bit of umbrage with me over something I said on last week's podcast, where I know we don't have the audio, and didn't mean to surprise you there, but the message alone was worth it. For anybody who may have missed or glossed over that portion, so we were talking about if we would be interested in going to Cuba.
Yeah.
And in relation to commercial flights starting there, and you were excited for the idea, and you said Annette couldn't have seemed interested in anything less than that.
And the term wet blanket was loosely thrown around.
Well, I asked how you sleep at night when you have to tuck in next to a soaking wet blanket.
So fast forward to 11:35 a.m. yesterday, because Annette typically listens to our podcast on Monday mornings when she's at work. Got a text out of the blue. Wet blanket? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark.
Which for you at that point, 6 days removed.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle, like I'm at work. Yeah. I'm, doing what I normally do at work.
And I personally, I thought it was a funny joke. I thought it was a good joke. Yeah. But it's also an hour and 40-minute podcast we did last week where you're going to forget some stuff that went down.
Yeah, so I replied, huh? She says, Kyle referred to me as a wet blanket when you mentioned I didn't want to go to Cuba. I was like, oh, yeah. And then the threats started coming. He's going to get the new APS bumped up to 100 episodes. Well, ha-ha.
Yeah.
Joke's on her because progress was made this weekend.
Progress was made, and if you haven't seen that, you need to follow us on social media at Steve and Kyle on Facebook.com/Steve and Kyle and at Steve and Kyle on Twitter, where it was all posted. And obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, a video came to your podcast feed as well, so be sure to check that out. Of a little demo. A little bit Sunday demo work.
A little bit of work. I love the fact, by the way, that we can do audio or video with,
it's very nice
with this feed. But
it's very nice.
So we set up I won't say a GoPro. It was an iPhone that if you didn't see the picture, did you tweet that out from the show? I tweeted
out from the show account.
We were trying to get the perfect angle. We wanted like the security camera angle where the camera's up in the top corner of the room aimed down. And then I set it to time-lapse so we could get a time-lapse of all the destruction that we caused.
Okay.
Well, we couldn't find a spot to put the camera. There just wasn't, like, no matter which way we set it, it was aimed just in the wrong direction. So I took a roll of masking tape and I taped my phone. My brand new phone, by the way. I've had it like a month. I dropped it once, I think.
I was very worried. I saw it bounce off a corner.
Yeah, got a nice bounce. And then I just took it and used masking tape and taped it to a pipe in the ceiling. And it worked perfectly.
Oh, it looked great. I thought it looked great.
So if you haven't seen that yet, that was on... I think it was on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday
morning.
Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, that should be in the podcast feed. But since it was over the 5-minute threshold, we consider that an episode.
It's an episode.
So.
Yeah, Sunday morning we were smiting the memory of surfer Dana Brown by doing some work on the Sabbath.
Was that his name, Dana Brown?
Yeah. Oh, I'll never forget. I will never forget.
Oh, never
that
forget
that gentleman's name.
Oh man, he's right up there with P. Billy 4. Never forget.
Right,
never
Dana Brown.
Yeah.
Now watch something. That's not his name at all.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, that was the video that we posted, and we had a lot of. It was nice to see a good amount of social media interaction between us and listeners on that, because a few listeners we had requested last week, or during the video we requested that people if you know how to do blueprints, please send in blueprints. Shockingly, people sent in blueprints, so we decided that we would print them out and hang them up, so that would be our inspiration as we move forward.
Right, yeah, we're going to have blueprints in the APS. We'll keep them for a little while until we decide we don't want them. We found treasure hunt keys.
We did. We found 6 keys.
Something happened here, Steve, at this house that I think we need to unbury. So random spots, too. Not necessarily hidden, but like they didn't serve any purpose. Mm-hmm. And there'd be 2 keys. So we put them on the workbench that we ended up taking down and started hammering another one. It's weird. Another key jingled out and fell on the ground. So there is 6, is that right? Mm-hmm. 6 keys. Now that we know unlocks to either a hidden temple or dead bodies.
Yeah,
or dead bodies. Those are the 2 options.
I'll go hidden temple.
Yeah.
I like to think hidden temple. That was surprising. Although I shouldn't say that, because I've said so many times that nothing about this house surprises me now, because after we did after we renovated the basement before I moved in, like a year and a half ago, it was such an adventure, and it was like an archaeological dig. Every board that we removed, there would be something behind it that would make me say, like, what? Like, what? How? What were they thinking when they did this? How did they do this? Now, granted, I'm not a contractor or anything. Right. I have enough experience doing home improvement stuff, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, I've never seen anything like that, and I've never seen anything like this on like the DIY network either. Right. But I mean, there's just wires going everywhere. Like the workbench had these electrical outlets wired into it
that were dead.
They were dead. Yeah, they didn't work.
And I think one of the most astonishing things was the sheer amount of nails just anywhere and everywhere.
Various lengths.
Yeah,
various
and
sizes.
both sides. Like, you'd have them pounded into one side of the board and then flip side. And so at any given time, you were liable to catch a loose nail. It's like the first 5 seconds of the video posted from Sunday, you caught a nail.
Yeah, I was like just going to lean up against the wall, put my hand up against the wall, and I put it right on a nail, which in hindsight was really it was simple to do because there were nails everywhere.
Yeah,
but we're underway though, man. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
We have everything is completely demoed. After the video, after I uploaded that video on Sunday, I ended up going back down in the basement because I just wanted to straighten up a few things. We had left some tools in there, and then I can't leave well enough alone, so I'm sitting there. I'm like, but I could rerun those wires. That electrical looks all right. No problem. So I went out in the garage and I got my little headlamp that straps around my head.
Oh yeah, coal miner Steve.
Yeah, and I turned the power off to the whole lower half of the house because I am terrified of electrical.
As you should be.
And I used my little voltage meter 15 times easily on the same wire. I'm like, oh, check it. Okay, nothing. No, nothing. No, I don't know, no residual power in that line or
No
anything.
phantom, like, shine.
Yeah.
Try to catch it off guard.
Yeah,
You're clear.
And if you'll notice, next time you go downstairs, I should have pointed it out to you earlier when we were down there, but written on the back of the drywall are my notes as to which wire has to be connected to which wire again.
Well, it'll be amazing if we ever get lights in there properly.
Lights, man, we have 2 of them, and it's easy to go from 2 to 4.
Right.
Outlets is a whole other story. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out.
Yeah, we know an electrician.
We're going to get there, though. I mean, worst comes to worst, we just run a couple extension cords.
Oh, yeah. Throw duct tape over the top.
Yeah, that's the way you do it.
And an area rug. Nobody knows the difference. But no, it is coming together. I was happy to finally be able to help. I think one of my favorite things that you told me about today is we took down a big workbench and another shelf. Mm-hmm. And for the time being, you thought, we'll put it outside in front of the garage.
Yeah. I was assuming that what I would have to do is over the course of the next couple weeks, I'll just have to take out my saw and cut the boards down into small enough pieces that'll fit in the garbage.
Yeah.
So that we can, the garbage goes out, because here you get one big garbage can. And you're not really supposed to put stuff next to it or outside of it. We've done it before. They've taken like an extra bag or two. But typically, if you have that much garbage, you have to call them, make special arrangements. Like if you're getting rid of a couch, you got to call them, buy the tag or whatever it is, make special arrangements. Then they have to come out in a separate truck and pick that up. So I was like, oh, crap, this is going to suck, because I hate having stuff laying around, especially boards with 3,000 nails sticking out of them.
It was a hassle getting them up the stairs.
It was.
I mean, some tight corners mixed with you have to hold them a certain way with like individual fingers. Yeah. Otherwise, you're liable to get tetanus.
Plus, there's cats running up and down the steps the whole time, complicating things. So we put everything, for the most part, just out in the driveway, right in front of the garage door. And then, like, the last 3 pieces we brought up, like, let's put them in the backyard so they're not sitting in the middle of the yard, which ended up being, I'm glad that we didn't have that idea until the end, because I took a picture of everything, posted it on Craigslist under the headline "Free Building Materials."
Listen, I'm familiar with what Bernie Madoff did. And you just pulled the biggest scam in America by telling somebody that was free building supplies.
Yeah. Well, technically, I mean, there were nails, there were boards, there were, some plywood, some 2x4s.
There was an assortment of splintered wood, for the most part splintered. I mean, we'd get to the point where we had to separate whatever from another board to get it up the stairs, and it would just break off, right?
Yeah.
So you sold glorified treated lumber / firewood under the guise of building supplies, but whoever it was got here and decided, well, I've come too far to leave it now.
So I put this post up on Craigslist on Sunday night. How many replies do you think I got?
2.
I got like 30 replies.
Okay, see, now I'm mad.
And the problem is, but I know how this system works. everybody's interested, but then when it comes time to actually, like, everyone will send you the text, because I have a second number that I use only for Craigslist interactions.
Very smart.
Everybody will send you the text saying, hey, is the wood still available? And I make it a point, especially when I'm trying to get rid of stuff that I don't want, I reply immediately. Hey, is the wood still available? Yep, still here. Do you want, or they'll say, can you give me the address? I want to come by and pick it up. I always reply, yes, it's still available. When can you come and get it? Mm-hmm. Without giving the address first, because I don't feel comfortable about giving out the address when I'm not going to be home. So I don't want to give it out while I'm at work and no one's at the house. So I always say, like, yeah, I'll be home at 2 o'clock. I'll send you the address once I get home. Well, you get 50 replies or 30 replies or whatever it was, and no one ever follows through. So yesterday a woman sent me a text. She said, do you still have it all available? I want to come pick it all up. I said, yep, there's actually more out there than there was in the pictures, because I had dragged all the stuff from the backyard out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And I grabbed the extra couple pieces that were still down in the basement. I was like, it's all out there. Take whatever you want. And I always say, no need to knock, which is code word for
just
I'm not
leave.
coming out to help you.
Right.
That's the thing, because it was like freezing rain yesterday. I don't want to go outside.
No,
Sorry.
You're picking up garbage.
So normally with these interactions, I mean, I hate to stereotype, but if someone's looking at the free section of Craigslist, chances are they're not going to be rolling up in a brand new pickup truck or have a fancy trailer or whatever. So it's always like, an old rusty truck or whatever. Well, this woman pulls up in what appeared to be a brand new, like, Chevy Suburban with the big chrome rims. And
wow.
Because she hopped out, and then I see, like, the automatic lift gate open up. And she's loading in these sopping wet boards that have snow on them and jagged nails sticking out of them, throwing them in the back. And I'm like, what are you doing, lady? Jeez. Well, she was out there for 25 minutes.
It took that long?
And I just sat on the couch and looked out the window. And
I don't blame you at all there, Steve. You didn't sign up. When you said free, you didn't mean free labor. You meant come pick up this garbage and leave my home.
Yeah, so she took it all. All but a couple of the old screens that we had down there, but I just ripped them up, stuffed them in the recycling bin, and sayonara.
Well, I've got two quick things about that, because on Sunday you mentioned you wanted a few pieces out back. Well, when we had everything in the basement still, you had mentioned to me how you used to be part of I could pry these two boards apart and take the nails out, and I still got usable lumber here.
I used to do that. Yeah, whenever I would break something down, especially in this house or in my house, I would always like, this is a good 2x4 if I just take a couple of nails out of it. Well, that would have taken, I'd still be working on it now. And I finally just realized, I'm like, a 2x4 is like $3. If I need one, I'll go and buy a new one. It's so much better than just having this pile of mismatched lumber.
Maybe someday I'll use you. Maybe someday. Yeah. Well, it kind of reared its head a little bit, because you had initially part of the workbench we took down was a pegboard, or a corkboard or whatever. Yes, and you thought, put that out back. I might save that.
I did. It's still sitting downstairs.
Is it really
in the hallway downstairs? Yeah,
I thought that would have been taken.
The big, actually, no, it's not the piece that you took down that was above the
big square shape.
It was a big like 8x4 sheet. On the other wall that I had already taken down before you got there.
Okay, I got
so you. That's still in the hallway. I even acknowledged I don't have a use for this. I don't even have a wall big enough to put it on, because it's a big sheet. So now it's just sitting in the hallway downstairs.
Well, we've talked about it before. This is like the first step to one of those home renovation shows, Steve. And we're going to knock out a wall, and we're going to put that frickin' pegboard or corkboard up.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a corkboard. I don't know what you're going to use it for, because you can't use it as a living space, because then it's obviously meant for whatever type of tools or things you need to hang.
Yeah.
But I'll be darned if you're not going to have that thing rigged up.
Yeah.
And secondly, I feel like I need to vent about Craigslist for me. So I've had, we received an early Christmas gift from both my parents and my in-laws, and it was a lovely entertainment center with a fireplace insert and everything. because my wife gets cold.
Sure.
And so she turns that on at night, and it looks nice. So we took our old entertainment center, put it downstairs, and used the one we had downstairs, yada, yada. We're going to get rid of it, right? And it's just a chintzy one we bought off Amazon when we moved in. And so I took a couple pictures of it a couple weeks ago, and I thought nothing more of it. Well, yesterday, I finally got around to, I just got to post it. It takes like 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, you get the Craigslist app, do it all within the app. It takes no time at all. So
I did that, and I also had, when we moved into our first apartment together, which was October of 2013, we were given this set of speakers, surround sound style speakers, and an audio receiver from my brother-in-law, from my now brother-in-law, and promptly tried to set them up once. Said, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Is it a new set?
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't a big deal. He asked if I wanted them. I said, sure. My brother and I tried to hook them up, like I said, one time. And we couldn't figure it out, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
They traveled somehow. I don't know how they made the cut from the apartment to our home to our basement, which we've been living in that house now since August of 2014. Wow. So that's been down there for 27 months. Same place. I watch. It's the place when if there's a wrestling pay-per-view on, my buddies will come over. We'll watch it in the basement. They're in the exact same spot as when we started watching wrestling in November of 2014.
So if you were to move them, you'd see the obvious vacuum marks around
around
the
it.
perimeter.
I've had to move them a few times recently because I did the all-important job of having to re-alphabetize my DVD and Blu-ray collection. I don't know how anybody lives without that done. By the way,
but talking about that for a minute, because you had mentioned that last week. If you what's the setup? Are they just in a shelf where they're leaning up against each other, or do they each have an individual slot that they go in?
It's like a 3-shelf rack that they all lean up against each other.
Okay. So it's not like, got to take this one out and move it down one.
Oh, no, that's the way it is. So I'll wait. So I'll have, stack 8 Blu-rays or whatever, like I said after Black Friday.
And you have doubles of...
I took out a bunch of my doubles. I got my double of No Country for Old Men. I still need to give that to you, unless I want to trade it into Amazon for my 66 cents.
Oh, is that going to be my...
I don't know what...
Is that going to be my Secret Santa gift?
Spoiled. Which, I don't know how Amazon makes money, because they pay for the shipping to send it to them, and they give me 66 cents. What are they going to turn around and sell this thing for? It's not worth it, right?
I mean, who knows?
Yeah, leave it to me, though. I'll question the Amazon business model. I probably know better, right?
Please remember your surroundings. Remember where you are right now.
But so it comes to it when if I have my stack, I'll say, all right, I've got 2 that need to go into this row. So I'll take the last 2 out of that row, and I'll sort everything down, put it where it needs to go. And the next row, I'll say, okay, 1 there. So it's a stupid process of like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If I want to add 8 DVDs to my collection.
But you're proud of it at the end.
I love it.
At the end, you probably stand back and look at it and say, yeah. No.
To be honest, I don't know how anybody lives without an alphabetized DVD or Blu-ray collection, because I would never be able... I mean, and granted...
I'll tell you how I live without an alphabetized DVD or Blu-ray collection. I just don't have DVDs or Blu-rays because everything is on... like some kind of other download service.
I hate having just digital, though, because I've been in a place now for the past month where I read the book of Perks of Being a Wallflower. I've seen the movie years ago. Wanted to rewatch it. Nowhere. I mean, I could buy it or rent it off Amazon or iTunes. I'm not going to do that. No, I want a physical hard copy in hand. I haven't pulled the trigger on that.
But any minute now.
Any day now. But relying on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or whatever, I can't do that because here I am. I wanted to watch that movie. I thought, it'll be on one of the streaming services. Doop-a-doop. Nope. And so here I am a month later. Book's already releasing from my memory. No idea how it's going to tie into the movie.
That is a struggle, I bet.
Isn't it? I might be, and to be fair, I am the only one who still has just a stupid amount of Blu-ray and DVDs. If I were smart, I would tip those over into a giant trash bag walk to the local whatever game trader warehouse and say, I don't care how much, put it on this card and I'm leaving.
I think what you could do is, and I had started doing this and then I gave up because I realized I never watched the movies anyway. I downloaded a piece of software that would let you rip DVDs, which, I guess it's illegal if you're selling, if you're gonna like burn them and sell them. But I would just rip them onto my computer or onto a hard drive.
Oh, okay.
So then it's like your own little.
You have a digital library.
Everything is just on one little hard drive.
That would be wise. There's something, and I'm still. Call me a touch old-fashioned. I can't get on board with a Kindle. I can't do it. You know why? And this is
a touch old-fashioned. I can't get on board with these Kindles.
Well,
this is just not damn tarnation.
Especially with the new ones, the 7-inch color, all this nonsense. Because I would get distracted, be like, oh, I'm reading this book. Hang on, let me look something up quick. And next thing you know, I'm just surfing the internet on the tablet, totally forgotten about the book. So I took my wife gave me her, it must have been like second generation, right? Just generic. All it is the books, right? And it was like, test out our beta Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
See if it'll work for you. That's how early this Kindle was, right? So I was like, all right, I'll try it. I will try it because it just makes more sense. I don't have any room on a bookshelf anymore for these books I keep buying. This would be wise. And all I found, I read Stephen King's It, which is one of the longest books ever. Mm-hmm. And I found myself percentage chasing, staring at the bottom, wondering, when am I going to get the next percent? It hasn't gone over 1% in like a half an hour. I've been reading pretty fast.
It's been 4 pages.
I don't know why I would do that. But that was a massive, massive undertaking.
Can you hide that? Do you have to see that?
I may probably not on that edition, but if they didn't have that nowadays, I'd be stunned because it's color now. This was black and white. Right. But no, I don't know. There's something about a paper book that I think I'm the youngest person who still subscribes to a newspaper.
Wow.
Still get that.
Yeah, that is
still get that twice a week.
Jeez. That's you're an old soul.
I am.
Definitely are.
An old soul who's very angry.
So I thought of something as we were talking about that I actually I looked up that note on my phone. It was for something completely different but podcast related. It was something that I had made a note of on Saturday night that I wanted to be sure to bring up. And we went out to a local brewery. And actually, I had sent you a text to invite you guys out. You were doing something. So we went out to this little brewery, and there was live music and really cool, little place. Well, in walks this man with, I think he had a baseball cap on, overalls, full overalls, work boots, and he had a little mustache. So I look at him, and I was like, man, that guy's fresh out of the field. He looks like a farmer.
Right, just got out. Just, whatever, harvest or getting ready for the winter type of deal.
Well, and that's no, he's not. That's definitely not a farmer. That's a hipster. I was like, what? So we had a debate, a 10-minute long debate, and I this is why I needed you to be there, because you would have been the tiebreaker.
I'd have tipped the vote.
But I tried to get a picture of the guy, but it was too dark, and it would have been way too obvious if I had walked up to him and, hello, Mr. Farmer.
Hey, sir.
May I take a picture of you?
Now,
but yeah, it was. Is that? Because I've seen hipsters, plenty of times, which makes me sound so old. I'm right up there with you. I can't use a Kindle, but I always assumed hipsters, kind of silly hairdo, maybe glasses that look where the rims are a little thick, tight jeans,
right?
Maybe the cuff rolled up, a pair of fancy man shoes, and riding an old timey bicycle.
Yeah,
one of the
in December.
Yeah, one of the big with the big front wheel and the little back wheel.
I'll get there in no time.
Yeah, the one that you have to get on the bike from the second floor window of your house.
Now,
I never knew is farmer hipster a thing?
I feel like hipster has evolved now.
It transcends all.
Well, it's evolved to now just mash whatever colors you want and whatever garbage you want to wear together at one point and call it forward. I guess call it like fashion forward. So you see, a green top with some red tight corduroy jeans, like you said, rolled up.
Yeah.
You're going to have a mustache or a large beard, probably too large. The hair is always going to be large, and I'm only probably saying that out of envy. Waft to one side.
Somebody's jealous. Yeah,
like a real idiot wafted to one side. Combed, Steve. Can you believe
anybody with a full head of hair, total loser hipster.
A real bandwagon jumper. Okay. And then usually with either a pair of Chuck Taylors or maybe a pair of penny loafers.
Yeah, it was the strangest thing.
Did he look dirty?
No, that was the thing. That was the major point of contention in this debate, because I was like, yeah, he's a farmer, and Annette said, no, he's too clean to be a farmer. Look at him, he's not dirty. I'm like, well, I don't know, he's a farmer. Like, he's probably got some nice overalls that he wears out to the local watering hole.
It's my going out overalls.
So I need someone to clarify if there is a such thing as a hipster farmer, farmer hipster.
Boy, that'd be a new generation of hipster, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And another thing that blew us both away when we were sitting there, because it's in a bar setting. There's a band playing, and it's not like rock band or anything. It was like upright bass, fiddle, guitar type music. So it was like kind of like rockabilly type music, and like folk music and things like that. So it wasn't excessively loud, but it was way too loud and way too inappropriate of a setting for there to be a newborn baby there.
Oh boy, does that happen too. Listen.
And when I say, I mean infant. Like, this kid was weeks old. Not like, oh, he's 8 months. No. This kid, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Listen, I get it. And I'm not going to try to jump in and say, oh, you're a mother now. You need to stay at home. Whatever. It's a different era now.
Right. It was an entire family.
Man, I ran into a similar situation as you on Friday, local town. I did an escape room on Friday for my wife's birthday with a pair of friends, and we tried to go to one restaurant and bar, and it was too busy, so we went down the road to a brewery, which also serves food. We were just going to get a drink before heading to this game.
Yeah.
And what I neglected to look at was the local town calendar of events, because they were going to have a nighttime parade there.
Oh, good.
So it's about 6:30, and it's obvious this time of year it's dark out. We pull into the brewery, and I can't over-exaggerate when I say that children outnumbered adults inside the brewery. Tables full of children that no doubt were frustrating the owners.
Yeah.
You're not making money at a brewery off of tables of 6-year-olds.
Right.
But all these families went there so mommy and daddy could drink and be ready for this. Well,
man, I get it. Like, I get it if you go to if you're going out for dinner.
Yeah.
Bringing the family along. But there's something so strange about, and I think it's a time thing. Like, it's okay for lunch, but it's not. It's barely okay for dinner.
It's weird
when you're sitting there at a bar, and I'm sitting there drinking a beer, and I look, and there's kids coloring on the table next to us. I get it. I get that they're perfectly legal. It's perfectly legal to have them there. It's just weird.
It's very
because there's a huge difference between restaurant, like if I'm at TGI Fridays, or if I'm at so and so brewery.
And it was even more shocking. I mean, there was no music or anything, but there was a line just to sit. We, 4 of us, we ended up having our wives take the 2 bar stools, and we just stood. Mm-hmm. It was that type of busy, right? So to have a table being used by children was kind of a bit wasting.
Right.
But what was more shocking was the woman who walked past right behind us at the bar with, I'm pretty positive she just came back from somewhere from breastfeeding.
Okay.
Couldn't have been older than 3-week infant. Same situation. Not loud music and everything, but still it was a brewery, a bar.
Right.
On a Friday night,
Yeah,
because you want to go show your 2-week-old out in the cold, by the way,
right.
this local town nighttime parade.
Yeah. And to clarify, Kyle is not taking a run at women who breastfeed in public.
Don't care. That's not the
that
point.
was simply part of the storyline.
Right. That's simply just to say, like, it was a very, very young baby.
Yeah.
And it really is weird.
It is weird. And it was in our instance, I look over, and at one point I'm fairly certain, can't say 100% for sure, but I'm fairly certain that they were changing the baby's diaper on the table.
Oh, good.
And at another point, because a lot of times if you see a young child, like say you're at a concert and someone brought their kid. Another thing, by the way, don't do that. No. It's weird. If there are other people around, like drinking beers, if it's a standing concert, don't bring a child.
You're begging for issues.
If you're at Disney on Ice, yes, of course, that's appropriate. But there was so the woman, she's holding this infant, and I look at one point and I said, "Oh, well, at least they put headphones on the kid. It's got headphones on, but they're normal headphones,
like what you and I are using."
Right. I mean, there are kid-size headphones, and they looked like they were probably a kid-size headphones, but there's a reason that the headphones don't fit the kid right, and it's because there's a reason that companies don't make headphones for infants, and it's because you're not supposed to take your infant to a freaking concert. Like this. They're like the most fragile thing in the world, little kids. It's so weird. You know? I mean, yeah, I know they're very resilient and you can bounce them off their head and they're probably fine, but their eardrums are still developing. And
and to take the term all ages show that literally is just wrong. I'm going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not a parent. Don't care. I feel like I don't need to be for this.
Yeah.
You are wrong if you're doing that. Mm-hmm. I get it that you still want to live your life and be able to do the things you used to do.
I totally get that. And
I'm
sure that I will only get that even more if I end up having kids.
Yeah.
And the temptation will probably be there for me to say, let's just bring the kid anyway. It's fine. It'll be fine. No, don't do it, because you're putting everyone else in that situation where they're just staring at you and saying, oh boy. That kid's doomed.
I'm a major movie goer, right? I try to get to a movie a week, sometimes more if I need a lot. And a family or a couple with like a baby, and I'm talking baby in the car seat that detached, you bring it in the carrier. I'm telling you right now, if I see them going to the theater, I'm going in. I'm leaving my assigned seat to go physically as far away as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to say something to the usher the second that I hear like a baby do what a baby does and cry for something. And you see that enough even in movies now with teenagers and other kids who it's just different. They don't care. There's phones. There's talking. I had an issue at this last movie I went to where I had to say something to an usher to get these two teenagers to quiet down. So to have a baby and a carrier there because, I got to go see the hot new Ben Affleck movie. Right. Boy, I know, and like I was saying, I get it. You should be able to live your life, but there are absolutely sacrifices that have to be made, and it's probably selfish for me to say that because I don't have the baby,
but I don't think so.
But I want it for my own good,
right? Exactly. I mean, you're paying. It's not like movies are $3.
No,
so you can screw it. Let's just leave.
Right.
Like you're putting down a decent amount of money.
Yeah, spending a few hours, and oh man, it's just irritating. I mean, irritating is probably the least naughty of the word I'll use to describe that because it's a real, oh boy, eyes peeled, something's going to go awry here, you know?
The worst part about it is like in our situation, you could see that everybody else was acknowledging this too. Everybody else is just looking over. Like you can read people's faces everybody was having the same conversation that Annette and I were having. We're just like, what are these people? Are you serious? Mm-hmm. This kid is like still pink with a cone head.
That's weird.
Like that's how fresh of a baby it is.
You can't do that. You just cannot do that.
No.
I do need to go back. I just realized I cut off my own Craigslist story.
Oh, yeah. You definitely you never did get to...
So I took the pictures of these, of the entertainment center, like I said, just a smaller one, and the speakers. And I listed the speakers. I should pull up the exact posting, but it is... This is an assortment of speakers and an audio receiver. What you see is what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much of it works. Posted it for $20.
Well, first of all, you for Craigslist, you have already overpriced it by, I would say, 9,000%.
It's like 6 speakers in this audio receiver, and I put our best offer. Honestly,
was it at least all like a matching set?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I took a picture of the entertainment center. I posted that for $20 as well. And you said you got how many emails for your free stuff?
Oh, 30, probably between 20 and 30. 2. I'm telling you, it's because there was a price on it to begin with.
Right. And that's probably the issue. Well, one of the responses I got was literally from somebody, but a link to my own post. So I sent a reply saying, was this supposed to be a link back to my own post?
No. It'll do that. Depending on how they respond. I noticed that too. Like in the email that they send you, it'll have original post, and it'll be a link to your post.
Right, okay. There was no comment. There was no email.
Oh, so there wasn't actually...
Because I scrolled, and I was like, well, maybe it's got to load more.
Yeah, or maybe...
And so scroll up and down, nothing. So, and I still haven't heard back from that lovely person. But then I do seem I have someone who wants to take the speakers off my hand. Because those need to leave my basement.
Got a subwoofer with that?
I believe there is.
Huh. You got what do you got? Front channel,
Steve, as is
center channel.
I don't know what any of that means.
All right, so there's probably 2 small ones about yay big.
You know, let me try to pull open.
Yeah, let's see this.
Let me try to pull open these photographs I took.
What do you have? What's the title of the post? I'll just look it up right here. I mean, we can do some.
Oh, good. Assortment of speakers and audio receiver.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Speakers. Let's see.
Oh, $30. That's wrong. That is way wrong.
Assortment of why is it not showing up?
So, yeah, two little fellas, one main speaker, and then.
All right. Yeah, not interested. Sorry, I was looking.
Hang on. Did you want to email me first? Ask me a few leading questions.
I was looking for something a little more low profile.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, these are older, not in the best shape, but still, I just want them out of my house.
Still work though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
That's possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the mistake of a couple of years ago. I have a decent amount of success selling stuff on Craigslist, so. A couple of the guys at work said, hey, I have all this old crap. Can you sell it for me? And I said yes and immediately regretted it because all it did was add to the amount of garbage that was in my garage for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
I finally just ended up giving stuff away. It wasn't even mine. I was just like, here you go. Take it. Take these speakers.
That's the next step because I'm not going to call the trash company for any of this. It's going free. Same thing you did. Free, I'll set it out underneath the overhang of the garage when I leave for work so it won't get wet. Mm-hmm. Take it. I don't want it.
It's remarkable how you could have something listed for $6 and someone will email you and say, will you take 3? Like, if you're that... I mean, if money's that tight, I get it. Money's tight.
Right.
Why are you buying, speakers on Craigslist?
Yeah, maybe focus on something else for the time being.
Yeah, maybe buy the kid food that week instead of, setting up your bumping system.
I got this new rig at home, right? For my gaming, obviously.
Yeah.
Gotta set up these hot speakers.
But what do I know? So I want to show you, I want to play this news story for you. I need you to, I can't immediately show you the screen.
Right. You mentioned this to me off air that it's nothing comical. The news story itself is not.
No, the news, it's actually, I mean, it's a serious story, but it's, there's something that may stand out. Now it is from Portland, Oregon. Oregon has sentenced
Hipster Central, by the way.
Yeah, they've sentenced their first offender to jail under a new revenge porn law. So this scumbag was taking
the pictures that his significant other or videos had allowed him to take or they'd partaken in. He posted them to the internet once they broke up.
Yeah, exactly, because he's pissed off. There's going to be something that'll surprise you. For me, it was the fact that this guy possessed revenge porn to begin with, because in order to possess revenge porn, that means you have to have had a significant other at some point.
Right.
There's something notable about this man. And hopefully,
31-year-old Benjamin Barber was convicted Thursday in a
so I'm going
Washington
to turn this
County
around
courtroom for posting intimate videos of
let's,
himself and his ex-girlfriend
back
onto
that up
adult websites.
back that up.
Convicted Thursday in a
No. No.
So do you notice anything? Is there anything that sticks out about old
What
Benjamin?
in the world? Well, the least offensive was what was going on. It looked like his cheek. There was like a scar or a mark.
Oh yeah. That I didn't even notice that.
Was he looking at the person taking the mugshot, or was he looking at the camera, Steve?
Both.
Because man.
Actually, it would appear as though Benjamin, because he's looking directly. Well, his left eye is looking directly at the camera. His right eye is looking, 100% to his right-hand side. Like, you barely see his eyeball at all, or the cornea of his eye, because it's completely sideways. I've never seen a more cross-eyed person than this guy.
That's amazing to me, that cannot be the woman, by the way.
No,
if that's the
I'm
woman,
sure
it's
not.
time to hang man to hang their cleats up.
Benjamin Barber was convicted Thursday in a Washington County courtroom for posting intimate videos of himself and his ex-girlfriend onto adult websites. The act of revenge porn only became illegal at the start of 2016, thanks in part to Sophia Adams.
That's ridiculous.
I think any
That's
woman
just
can
now
agree that
illegal.
It's about time. It's long overdue.
3 years ago, Sophia was targeted by her ex-boyfriend.
And when he decided to break up with me because he was cheating on me, then he exposed my pictures, linked it to my Facebook, put my address, my phone number.
But back in 2014, there was no law protecting Sophia.
And a time that I do need it because I feel like my life is potentially in danger, and they're just saying, oh, well, you shouldn't have made that mistake.
Armed with frustration and nowhere to turn, Sophia started a petition to make revenge porn a crime.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I think that,
that
that's
had
private.
to be done.
Why should you be able to take
one of those silly online petitions is what it took to get those, because you see those all the time. It doesn't matter the news story. Like the newest one is fix, get rid of the electoral college, but this poor girl just wanted not her entire body posted on the internet. But Benjamin Barber, I obviously have no idea what the woman looks like, because that's probably concealed by the law. Yeah. And I can guarantee you Benjamin Barber outkicked his coverage.
Oh, man. Upset of the year.
Right.
I'm going to link this in the show description for today.
Right.
So do yourself a favor. Click on that link, and you just have to watch. I don't even think you have to watch the video. I think because it's like the screenshot.
Oh, is it?
It's the image as soon as the site loads.
So they knew what they were doing then when they did it.
Yeah.
That's very wise on their part.
I don't think, by the way, that 6 months in jail and 5 years probation is enough.
You don't think so?
Porn. No. I don't.
Huh. I don't know how to feel about that, because I look at it and I get it. It's a heinous thing to do.
Yeah.
And
I think it depends. I think there's a lot of variables. It depends on the quantity that is posted.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like 6 months is not enough, though.
I think there's a difference between, hey, look at this girl, she cheated on me, and so here are these pictures, which is still wrong, compared to, I broke up with this girl, here's everything about her.
Yeah.
Nude pictures, videos, address, family, things. To me, those are two separate, offenses in my mind.
What are you doing, man?
How do you treat a revenge porn guy in jail? Is he going to be, obviously he's not going to be part of the tough guy crowd.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, definitely not him. I mean, Benjamin's got his work cut out for him.
You know
no
what?
matter what.
He's halfway to having eyes in the back of his head, Steve.
That's true. That's very true.
Halfway there. Guy can see all corners of the room.
Sees all angles. So yeah, do yourself a favor though. Click on that link in the description,
right?
Just so you can see.
It's well worth the price of admission, right there.
I almost said poor Benjamin, but no,
not poor.
Click
Benjamin.
on it so you can see Benjamin.
Right. Well, what are we sitting at time-wise? We want to get into one more discussion.
Yeah, one more quick one.
Okay, I'll try to be. You know what? Let me talk about, because this has been bubbling for a little bit. My deal with cable, and I don't even know where I don't even know where I left it, Steve. The last time we talked about it, it had been my current issue at that time had been resolved after I talked about it last time on the podcast, which was just a package issue. I couldn't get anybody to give me the promotional package, whatever. So that had been resolved, locked in, no issues until this week. Now, I pay extra. It's not much, but I pay a little extra for, it's called NFL Red Zone.
Yeah.
And so on Sundays, from every Sunday day game and afternoon game, they show literally teams that are advancing in scoring. Mm-hmm. So not just the full game of whatever. It's, hey, we're going to bring you over to the Packers-Jaguars right now. Packers just entering, just past the 30-yard line. And you can see if they score yet. It's good for fantasy football. It's also good for football fans.
It seems like that is completely geared towards fantasy. Like that's the only reason that is in existence.
Oh, it's tremendous. Yeah. And it also helps me because football has so many commercial breaks. They don't do commercials. So I'll be watching my beloved Detroit Lions. They'll go to commercial break, which in football is touchdown, commercial, field, extra point, commercial, kickoff, commercial.
Yeah.
So I'll turn it on to Red Zone to pass the time. No issues. I watch it usually every Sunday. But that's literally what I pay for is 16 Sundays a year for 6 hours, right? 1 to 7. That's what I get for Red Zone. 1 day a week, 6 hours or 7 hours a day or whatever it is.
So there's nothing on that channel during the week?
Nope. It says Red Zone will return next Sunday at 1 p.m.
Really? Not even? Oh, yeah. I was going to say not even Monday night, but there's only one game.
Yeah. Yeah, and so for everything else, they've got the NFL Network. So that's all it is. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the night, they recap. They show every point scored that day, right? So I turned it there Sunday like I normally do, watching the game by myself. Sure enough. NFL Red Zone included with subscription. Need to go to Xfinity, yada yada, to add to your package.
That's weird.
Like, That's what? Curious. I watched it last Sunday. You know what? Maybe they gotta just flip the switch again, right? Maybe someone bumped my switch. Maybe I've got a row. I got my own wall.
The Kyle switch.
I've got my own wall in the Xfinity headquarters, and it's certain switch. Well, he's done with HBO. We're gonna add stars, yada yada.
I picture it like whenever you see the video of like the old timey phone operators where they're pulling out patch cables. Yeah. Klondike 5. Let me patch you through.
That's my cable package. That's how it operates. So I go onto the chat. I always prefer the online chat. There's a visual record if I want to keep it as such.
And it's less personal. You don't feel mad. Right. You don't feel bad about being mean to people.
Yeah, and it's a Sunday, so there's no wait. So sure enough.
Hold on. Annette's iPad is getting a phone call.
Oh, should we take it?
Nope.
So
at least we know that. Wait a minute, that's a big step. Like that didn't. Remember we tried that back when we first started the podcast.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
To pull back the curtain, we have tried to figure out how to, if it ever came to it, to take a call on the podcast
from
or
who?
to schedule an or to schedule an interview or whatever, a way to do that.
Yeah.
And we have been unsuccessful up until that random mystery person just called Annette's iPad.
So somebody can FaceTime us.
Right. Yeah, that'll be great.
Okay.
I'm sure that'll work. So I start my chat and it's the same steps, and I think every cable service is the same, and I get it. They have to do it. It's, let me send a signal to your box. Like, okay, whatever lightning bolt you're going to jolt down my line.
Now, did they start out with are you standing next to the box? Yes. Have you unplugged it recently?
No.
Wow, that's
I
surprising.
didn't get that treatment.
Yeah, normally they do is it plugged in?
Right.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Can you confirm to me what color the light is on the front of it?
And she was, initially I got upset because they were more concerned with, well, is it affecting all boxes? I said, well, it's affecting the one I'm on right now. And primarily, that's what I care about.
Yeah.
So let's fix this
I'm not going to run
first.
up and down the steps during commercial breaks to turn on Red Zone in the upstairs TV.
Right, and I'm in my chair. I have 2 dogs sleeping on my legs, which is the normal go-to spot for my football games. I'm not going to get up, cause a rustle. No, just fix the one it's on, right? And, okay, well, let me send a signal. Send a signal, nothing happened. Yep, you're not going to believe this, but that didn't fix my subscription package.
Your
right?
genie in a bottle did not work.
I extremely suggest that we power cycle your box. So you got it. What do I do? 4th quarter of a Lions game. This is how devoted to fixing the cable fiasco I am. I unplug the box for, they say, at least 30 seconds, plug it back in, and the boot up thing takes like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I said, man, wasn't on the power cycle. Still not included with my subscription.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
Man, I thought that the tried and tested unplug and plug it back in
Unreal.
typically works.
I can't believe it. I'm going to elevate this to whatever the next step would be, right? So, boy, we're going to get him then. We're going to get him now. So he says, I'm going to give you the number. You call, it's the advanced repair line.
Oh.
Right? So this is like...
They have answers.
This is serious business, right? Wait for the Lions game to end. Call him up. I was told to call you, yada, yada. Well, if I got the solution, why don't we send a signal to your box?
Oh. I feel like we've done this before, but okay. Maybe,
said,
maybe they have a different signal.
I appreciate it. Send it. It takes 3 minutes. This person's telling me like, oh, your box is at 80%. The signal's at 80%. Boy, this is a big one. Like, they're sending all the packets down that signal, right? So sure enough, signal sent. He goes, okay, check it. It didn't work. I know it. I know what we're going to do. What do you think they did?
Boy, let's see.
Let's go with the cycle here.
I bet they told you to power cycle it.
We decided to power cycle to complete the circle of stupidity.
Yeah.
So I go, all right. I stood up. I unplugged it. I waited, and I plugged it back in. And it took another 3 minutes to boot up and load everything. It didn't work.
Man.
It did. This is the advanced repair line.
Right.
Well, sorry, sir. We are out of ideas.
That was the actual
That was
quote?
the actual
We're
quote.
out of ideas?
She goes, let me put you on hold for a minute. Said, okay. She comes back and goes, okay, I have given your entire case and your contact info and everything. You're going to be hearing from an engineer in the next hour. I'm not kidding you. This is Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? I said, all right. I'll hear from him soon. So I plug in my phone. I've been on the phone now for like 25, 30 minutes. My battery's low. I plug in my phone, and I'm sitting at my countertop now so I can be near my charging phone for when this engineer calls. That was Sunday. I'm still waiting to hear from that engineer.
Oh, what?
I waited
They
one
didn't
day.
call?
I waited until yesterday, went back on the chat, and I said, you're not going to believe this, but if you tell me that you're going to send a signal or power cycle my box, I'm going to throw that box through your window. Okay? Here's what's going on. I don't know what you have to do. Cancel my package and then reinitiate it to make whatever you need to trick this thing into we're doing. But 16 Sundays a year, I've now lost 1/16 of this worth.
Right.
Right? And it's
Yeah,
not,
you
like I
should
said.
get it. I mean, you'll obviously get a refund for that, I'm
I
assuming.
hope so. And like I said, it's not much. I don't care at this point. I just like the channel, you know? So I said, please do not tell me to do these steps. I'm not going to do them, and I don't want to go through the process. That's not going to work. Yeah, well, I don't have anything else for you. So they're sending a technician.
Surely this can't be the only time this has ever happened.
They just sent a technician out because I can't get one of the channels that worked last Sunday. What in the world? How is... Oh, was it working on your other box? I said, you're in luck because I'm standing up right now. So I went to the other box, which is in our bedroom. And I go, well, I got bad news. That box won't even turn on. The time's on.
Oh, that's got to be the issue then. That box is like
It must control everything.
It's like a dam, and it's blocking blocking just that signal.
What if I've got the pent-up signal just in that box now, and the actual signal never reached the box I needed it to?
Okay, so you basically got a clogged pipe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
they're going to call a plumber too.
Nah, I'm gonna pour Drano on it.
Oh yeah.
So I have to have a technician to come tell me how I can get NFL Red Zone and hopefully make my other box work.
Right.
At this point, it's been a really good week.
Yeah.
Real thrilled.
Well, hopefully you don't have to pay for that because that just seems pretty ridiculous.
I've been having a hassle with these boxes, and I called them about them because they freeze, they don't work, and I'll have DVR programs say, "Well, your program was interrupted." Well, why? It was 8:00 on a Tuesday.
Right. See, I had that issue when I had satellite. But at least with satellite, you can understand if I looked out one time and there was a foot of snow on my dish,
right.
and it had shifted because there was so much weight on top of it of snow. So they came out and readjusted and calibrated and everything, and it worked fine. But with cable, like short of the cable being cut, because you go crazy with your shears out in the yard and you're trying to trim a bush and you cut through your cable, like that should pretty much work.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Oh boy, what a fiasco. Well, should we move to what I have is the Fast Five and you have the Thrifty Three?
Well, some may call it that.
Fast 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Of course, as we end every episode here on the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Yeah. Now this is 5, maybe 4 things that
you're up to 4.
Yeah.
Now is this going to be like the color black, like last week was stuffing,
or just whatever the last word is that you said, like Comcast, right? I mean,
you leave those guys, right? A bunch of idiots.
I mean, definitely made this list weeks ago. Yeah,
right.
But this is when we throw out 4 or 5 things that have happened in the last week.
It's
it
fine,
could be news stories, could be just buzzwords that we heard, and just give our quick opinion on them, break them down a little bit.
And I don't want that to fall in between the cracks there. It is 5. So when Steve says it's 4 or 5 things,
exactly. It's 5 or sometimes 4.
So we've got the Fearsome 4 and the Fast 5 here for you. I'll kick us off today, Steve.
All right, let's hear
we didn't get to this news story, but it's been a big topic. So, all right. First one, flying.
Flying? Just flying?
In general.
I love it. Convenient.
Oh,
great.
Yeah. You read the news? All right, never mind. Biden.
Uncle Joe 2020.
Rave.
Never been to one.
Jenna Jameson.
She's still... Is she? Did something happen with her? She's
Something
relevant
happened.
again?
I'm just gonna, when we get done, I'll read you a headline. Okay. Last one. It's in the news again. Standing Rock.
Good for them. It's they accomplished what they set out to do. It seems like
right. Is that for my money? That's the first large level protest like that in our lifetime that's worked.
Yeah,
it seems it worked to some degree. At
but
least.
didn't I also saw that they're they've basically said, yeah, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop doing anything, despite the White House saying, yeah, you got to stop.
Right. Well, what is? And to be totally fair, I'm out of the loop on it, and I know
me too.
Bad me, whatever. But from what I had heard this week on the news is that they're 95% done with this pipeline.
Are they really?
And this is the one area, so they could probably, and I'm sure that's going to end up being the plan. They'll build it around, which is a massive headache, and it's going to cost them more money. But that might be what it comes down to, right? So. But yeah, big news is in a million years I thought this is a token celebrity cause.
Yeah,
nothing will come of it. But here they are. Veterans for Standing Rock was one of the fastest Indiegogos or whatever it was ever. 1.5 million. I mean, there's money. The camp is massive, and it seems like it worked.
Yeah, it definitely did, and good for them. Look, I mean. If you want to argue about it, okay, so if they don't build the pipeline, that oil, it's going to have to get from one spot to another, whether it's going through that pipeline, whether it's on a train, in a a rail car or whatever, in a tanker truck. Yeah. I mean, it's still going to be going that way anyway. But hey, good for them, Right. Now they said that I saw that they're going to be turning their sights on Flint next.
Oh, is that what the plan's going to be? Okay. Well, hey, I tell you what. There's a lot of people without jobs that are going to need a new cause. Yeah. To go trumpet, right? And so The water crisis in Flint's going to be it. Now, Jenna Jameson, I didn't think in a million years you would know what this is in reference to. I thought we might get to it, but we ran out of time. So what I want to do, I want to read you the headline.
Okay. Jenna Jameson, I'm assuming former.
Yeah, she hasn't worked in years, I don't think. She retired. Married former UFC star Tito Ortiz.
She wasn't the former porn star that became like a born-again Christian or...
She's religious.
Or started speaking out against the porn industry?
She may be. I don't know about...
I might be getting her mixed up with someone else.
Right. I believe she is religious, and that ties in. So what I want to do here now is I want to read you just the headline.
Is she a Christian porn star gaping it for the Lord, though?
Oh, well, she's not successful if she's not. If she was, there's now a spot atop that throne that Nanette Averill is chasing.
Nanette Averill.
Never forget that name.
All right.
So I want to read you the headline.
Let's hear it.
And I'm not going to give you any more details. And if you want, we'll come back to this next week. Mm-hmm. And if you're satisfied with the headline, we'll move on and act like it didn't happen. Headline: Jenna Jameson in Twitter feud with ex-KKK Grand Wizard over Benjamin Netanyahu.
What?
That's it. You either stew on that and we come back to it next week, or we forget it ever happened.
No, we're definitely coming back to that next
How
week.
Does that... that's what hooked me.
I want to know about this.
Right? Oh,
I want to know about it so much that I'm not going to look it up.
You're
and
darn
I'm going
right.
to wait.
You're going to wait a week.
7 days to look it up or to hear you tell me about it.
I mentioned rave. Obviously, the terrible news about that underground rave in Oakland, California.
Oh my God,
36
awful.
People dead.
Yeah,
is that
and
what we're at?
And I said never been to one.
Never.
And, yeah, that is. I feel terrible for those people, but what the hell, man?
Yeah, I mean,
what the hell?
Those things have always been so. I hate to use the term underground because that's literally where this one was, but it's all off the beaten path. It's not down at your local concert venue that this place that whoever just rented
it. Where there are like regulations and fire code and everything. And I don't know anything about how that all went down. The details, I don't know any of them.
Yeah.
But God, that like 30 some people.
Unreal.
At a rave.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And as soon as I read a headline that had something about a commune leader, I figured that, boy, that's sketchy enough that they probably shouldn't have been in an underground building to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Joe Biden may have been not mockingly, but may have been in jest saying that he was planning on running in 2020.
Yeah, nobody really seems to know. It's strange that he didn't. I mean, if he's serious, that just means that the 2020 election cycle has already begun.
Right. I don't think he will. He'd be 78.
Yeah.
At that time in 2020. So
it's crazy
if he served 4 years, he'd be 82 years old.
It's crazy to realize that Trump is the oldest person elected to their first term.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know how old he is.
He's 70.
Is he 70?
Yeah. He looks good.
He's relatively, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot of work, let's be fair. Right. But I would have guessed 62, 63.
I would have thought maybe mid-60s.
Huh. So, and you remember the grief McCain got 8 years ago for how old how old he would have been.
How old was McCain
he was
then?
Like 74.
Okay.
So he was up there too, and that was a big factor. That's why he chose the young gun.
There is something I really love about those memes.
The Biden memes.
I love them.
Those are great.
I absolutely love them.
The last one I mentioned flying. More general, I thought we might get to my story, my discussion today about. I have a big trip coming up in a few weeks, but we'll get to that in coming weeks. Yeah. But more importantly, the news story about the Brazilian soccer team. That crashed and killed. Was it all of them, or was there any survivors?
I think like 5 people survived.
5 survivors on the Brazilian.
Now I don't know if it was because I don't think that the flight was just the soccer team. I think it was
there was others.
Yeah,
so but I don't still know. Just awful news, terrifying news. Those images of plane wrecks always ruin me because of it's just smoldering ground,
and they always do the close up on the piece of luggage that has a tag on it with a last name, and you're like,
never getting there.
God, that is a person.
Yeah, we'll get to that in coming weeks about my big trip.
Mm-hmm. Now time for...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's right, Kyle.
4.
It's the Fast Five.
Oh, he did it again, folks. Upset of the century.
Oh, boy. That's right.
All right.
That's right.
love this.
The starter was struggling. They called in the reliever. They weren't sure if he had the heat to get through the bottom of the ninth, but he got it.
Did you sneak the fifth in the middle somewhere, or did you not place it at the end? So I have to kind of guess.
Well, we started this episode 1 hour and 13 minutes ago with 3. I had 3. I added a 4th right at the beginning.
Yep.
And then I just added a 5th within the last 15 minutes or so.
All right, I'm going to try to guess the fifth. I will try to guess the 5th when we're done.
You're going to be able to guess pretty easily. Now, you're also going to notice some overlap because, number 1, Joe Biden in 2020.
Interested to see it. Run.
LeBron not staying at Trump's hotel.
Oh, God, whatever. I hate him anyway. This is not going to change any opinion.
All right, DAPL.
Glad it stopped.
Yeah.
Glad it stopped, I guess, yeah.
Number 4, Kangaroo Punch.
Boy.
Have you seen it?
I tell you what.
Have you not seen the greatest
I don't think
video?
I've seen it. I just read a headline about it.
Well.
But I dread, to answer the Fast Five in the Fast Five format, dread it.
Okay.
Dread the kangaroo punch. I would not want to be punched by a kangaroo.
No. Oh, then you definitely didn't see this video.
No, I know I didn't see it.
Okay.
I thought I read a headline about it.
Right. And last one is hipsters.
Boy, hard to guess. Get rid of them. You need to put them on an island with horses. They don't belong anywhere in society.
What about hipster farmers?
Well, hey, that society on that island's got to survive somehow, right, Steve?
All right. Now I need to show you
Boy, that's very dangerous. By the way,
most viral video of the last couple of days.
Oh, so it's already dead.
Man punches kangaroo in the face to save his dog.
Oh, that's right. Okay, now I am familiar with it. I haven't seen it, but I am familiar with it, with what happened, which already support the guy. I'm assuming there was some type of.
I'm actually gonna. I'm not. I think that the video has a bunch of swearing on it.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
I am assuming, though, that there's been some outcry among some animal activist groups that he shouldn't have done that or whatever.
Honestly, I haven't seen any. There may be, but as the story goes, this video is from Australia. This guy on a ranch or a farm or something, he realizes that his dog, some kind of looks like a hound, like a hunting dog, is in a headlock. A kangaroo has his dog in a headlock. So he chases it down, runs up to it.
Pretty ballsy.
Look at that.
Oh,
Kangaroo's got him.
Oh,
he
that kangaroo
squares
wants
off.
to fight.
He squares off. And he clocks the kangaroo right in the chin.
And look at the kangaroo's like, wait a minute. He did not just do it because he stays stunned, right?
Look at that. Bam. He actually goes, what?
I can't believe that actually stopped the kangaroo.
It did. Yeah, I feel so bad for that dog, though. Apparently, the dog got pretty messed up.
Did it really?
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that update. If somebody sends me a news link that dog ended up dying, I swear to you, I will block you.
I don't think it did. Don't
poor
worry.
thing.
He didn't surf into a pier. Because this isn't one of those stories.
Because if I remember, from what I had heard on whatever Animal Planet quickness about kangaroos, is that they have claws. That are really, really tough, and their kicking that is really deadly?
Yeah, because they can rock back and balance on their tail and then kick their legs up and really mess you up.
Yeah, that's what I had heard, was their kicking was deadly. But boy, they squared off like boxers.
It was so great to watch that. Now, that's kind of a low. There are a bunch of different videos going around. Like, one of them was shot, it was like somebody holding their cell phone up to a TV, because that aired on some TV station in Australia. But I finally was able to find one of like the original quality, because if you look at that one, you look at the dog and the whole side of it is red. So it looks like it was like ripped open pretty bad, but I finally saw the high quality version of it. The dog has some kind of red like vest on or something. But in the low quality version, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, this kangaroo is tearing this thing apart.
Yeah.
But apparently the dog was injured a little bit, but as far as I know, he is okay.
You know, Steve, our interaction's been great with our listeners. I have one request. I would like somebody to take that still of the man and the kangaroo,
squared off with the kangaroo,
either after the punch, so it looks like there might be a fight, or during or right before he punches. And please put that in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as like the opponents on the side of the ring. Because I have never seen more like, that's what I thought of immediately was kangaroo like this, guy like, all right, it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. As soon as the guy squares up, the kangaroo does the same thing.
That's amazing. Like, can you imagine like an actual brawl between a man and a kangaroo?
Oh, well, you know that it's happened. I'm sure there's got to. That seems like something that it would be very easy to find old-timey video of it. But
man.
Yeah. So yeah, check out all of those, all the stuff we talked about in the description. Another something I should have gotten to at the top. You can now find the podcast in the TuneIn. TuneIn. Yeah. So if you want to check it out in TuneIn, if you already use that for all of your other podcasts or whatever, you can do that. But you can download, subscribe, review the show on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Libsyn, steveandkyle.libsyn.com. Check us out on social media, facebook.com/Steve and Kyle, on Twitter @Steve and Kyle. And thank you to there are a couple of reviews of the podcast in the iTunes store that really
One was great.
Really cracked me up, actually. If I can pull that up real quick.
Well, while you pull those up, again, the call is still out. If you would like to send in your blueprints for the new APS, we will put them on the wall while we develop the APS over the next 6 months or so, and use those as our guideline to the future. So please keep those coming in. I know we have, I think we're up to 5 or 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe now.
There is one that was done with such detail.
It's amazing.
It was incredible.
It was amazing. We'll get it, but please do send those in. Facebook, Twitter works as well, wherever works.
So, Dan Mayer. I've met Dan before.
Oh, okay.
It's actually, Dan does a podcast. He's from the Albany area. So over the summer when we were in Albany, he interviewed all of us, and he interviewed me, and specifically asked about the Steve and Kyle podcast. I think that was during our 6-week hiatus or so.
Oh, okay.
You know, after 3 episodes, we already had to.
Wait, we've rattled off like 14 in a row now or something crazy.
Well, he left a review. I followed Steve and Kyle here from the talk radio shows they've been on. They share a great chemistry and have a lot of amusing stories from their personal and professional lives to share. Plus, anybody who backs my homeboy Kevin MacLeod is cool in my book. Between podcasts, YouTube shows, and indie games, at least half of the internet has Kevin MacLeod's audio fingerprints on it by now. But we haven't quite reached peak MacLeod yet, so it's all good.
We were lucky enough to get one of our tweets liked by K-Mac.
Yes.
Kev Bro, Kevin MacLeod, K-Mac, whatever you want to call him, this past week. So that's just the start of a budding relationship.
That was a big thrill. So hopefully we'll have him on one day. But anyway, thank you for listening. We're going to be back next Tuesday, December 13th. We will record another episode. In the meantime, keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter, and have a good week.
Thank you.
At Trinity Health, we see you in all of your potential. We understand that being significantly overweight can hold you back from embracing everyday moments. We can help. Our bariatric surgery experts walk with you every step of your weight loss journey, helping you realize your potential and achieve your goals. It's time to feel better, be healthier, and live your life to the fullest. Start your journey today. Visit trinityhealthmi.org/bariatrics. Trinity Health, we see all of you.
Como presidente, Donald Trump bajó los impuestos principalmente a multimillonarios y grandes corporaciones, mientras que aumentó los impuestos a la clase media. Como vicepresidenta, Kamala Harris votó a favor de mayores exenciones tributarias para los padres y de otorgar créditos fiscales para reducir las facturas de los servicios públicos. Como presidenta, Harris apoyará más beneficios tributarios para los trabajadores estadounidenses. Haz un plan para votar por Kamala Harris en estas elecciones. Visite votolatino.org para obtener más información. Pagado por Voto Latino.